that note with Parker Whirling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
This is so cool.
I know. I'm pumped to have you. I've been a fan for a minute. And when I saw you at a Star Bar when we played with Kahi, I was like, nice. I finally get to go see her play live.
Yes.
So I was pumped to see you, and I thought you absolutely killed it. We got Sudie on the pod. Ready to get into this?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. Plenty to talk about. I got all my notes here.
Cool.
But as per usual, I love to start with the album that you picked from my album collection. And there's one thing that grabbed your eye pretty much immediately.
Yes. Should I grab it?
Please. Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
So we've got we have the Merriweather Post Pavilion by Animal Collective.
Great choice.
So I've actually never seen this album in like physical form before. And yeah, it just immediately caught my eye. I saw like obviously the binder here.
Right. The optical illusion.
Yeah, it was like the most colorful album I think that's over there.
Probably
so. It grabbed my eye pretty quickly. I picked it out because I have so many fond memories of this record. My sophomore year of college is when I did mushrooms for the first time, and I listened to this record.
Great combo, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was really fun. And yeah, I love the production on this album so much. It's so interesting and exciting and different, and yeah, it was something that I listened to and was like, whoosh, wow.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song? My Girls was the first one I ever heard.
Is so
I feel like most
good.
people know that and just don't know it's from them or from this album.
There's the one, is it something Lion?
Oh, Lion in a Coma.
Lion in a Coma. Yes, that one is a really, really good one. I don't know. I'm gonna listen to this on the way home.
Yeah, totally.
No, I have to revisit it, but Lion in a Coma is really good. My Girl is obviously such a great song, just classic. I think even if people aren't really into Animal Collective as a whole, everybody can get into My Girls.
Yeah, it's a great gateway. That was my first song I ever heard by them, or at least one that I heard that I really enjoyed. And then I don't know about you, for me, with a lot of albums, I really do judge by the cover.
Yeah.
And this one, I was like, there's something so insane about this.
I mean, even just looking at it now, it's moving, you know.
And I really wanted to be into it.
Yeah.
And My Girls, I thought was always great. And it took a minute for me to get it. I don't know, some albums or some artists, I don't like, I want to like them, and I just need the right starting place.
I also think it depends on where you are in your life.
Totally.
What you're going through. Some albums don't communicate yet until it's the right time for you.
Absolutely.
But also sometimes they never do. Like there's artists and artists that I respect, that I like in theory, but like their music, specifically just the vibrations in the music, just don't go with what I'm looking for, you know? And then I could come back 10 years later and it's like,
all of a sudden it clicks for some reason.
It clicks.
Is there any off the bat that you can think of that artists or an album kind of like spoke to you later that didn't quite hit it the first time?
I can't think of anything right now.
I don't know. There will probably be more and more questions like that where you're like, this is too on the spot.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. Or the opposite. There's something I really liked back in the day, and then I go back and I'm like, I see why I liked this back then, but it doesn't quite hit the same.
Yeah, a lot of albums from like high school that I used to listen to, or bands from high school.
Yeah.
Most of them have kind of faded away.
Some of them have like really held up though.
Yeah.
Like Bon Iver's For Emma, Forever Ago.
Totally.
Such a classic. Like,
that is a classic, like fall weather, winter weather, getting cozy. with the T or something.
Yeah.
And I always was a big fan of 22 a Million, the Bon Iver's third
yes.
album. The
That's
other
right.
really trippy album cover.
I did not. That was one I didn't get into right away.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it because it wasn't speaking to me at the time. But maybe now it will.
Maybe now, yeah. It's super weird.
Yeah.
A lot of crazy production.
I think I'm going to go back and listen to this one and then that album.
There you go. You got your playlist for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sudie, I'm pumped to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
this is
of
so
course.
Cool.
I know. I'm stoked you were down to do it. One reason that I was excited to have you on is because I feel like genuinely there's nobody doing the kind of music you're doing in Atlanta, specifically. Like everything I've heard from everyone else, is a lot of alt country, alt blues, just alt rock in general. And you just have a really cool electronic indie sound, very reminiscent of like FKA Twigs or Björk.
Wow, thank you.
Who are, of course, who are a couple of my favorites, especially Björk. And
Me too.
She's the queen, like absolute goddess. But yeah, there's not a lot of that I've heard in Atlanta. You may know some other artists that you can, please give some shout outs here. But I'm very impressed by all the crazy rhythms you have and all the crazy sounds that are in your songs. So yeah, I've got all these notes. I got little questions to ask you. Yeah, of course. But you also mentioned before we started the podcast that you have a new single coming out on the 19th, right? March 19th?
Yes.
Cool. What can you tell us about that?
Okay. So far, it's like one of my favorite songs that I have made. And
you produce your own music as well? Okay, awesome. Yes,
this song, I have a friend that I have been recently working on some music with. So, she and I brought the like demo, which just kind of turned into the song. I brought the demo to her, and she helped me with some synth sounds. But honestly, it came out so easy. When you get a song done so quickly and it's like, damn, this is great. And then it really didn't need too much. And it's really it's a love song.
Yeah.
Actually, March 19th is my partner in my 2-year anniversary.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of did that on purpose to release it on our anniversary. It's just, it's literally titled Illy, like I love you.
Aww.
But it was really, really fun to do. I recently got the Drum Brew Impact by Arturia.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Actually, the Star Bar show was the first time I'd used it.
Whoa. What did you think?
On stage. I had just got it maybe a week before the show, and I was like, I have to use this in the show. So it was really fun. I did a deconstructed, really weird version of this Mozart song that I learned when I was going to school for opera.
Oh, whoa.
And that's what I have my degree in.
Cool.
Vocal performance. But
Sure.
So I used it for that, and that was really fun. And then I used it for, I did a solo one-piece performance at Pisces for the FKA Twigs album listening party.
Yes, I had that written down. I was like, I want to know what you had a special song prepared for the Eusexual listening party.
Yeah, it was really fun. It basically, it was all analog. So I used the drum brew, I used my Septivox, the microcosm, my vocal pedal, and I think maybe one other thing. The Mini Freak by Arturia.
Okay. So
I basically just prepared an idea, and then the Pisces listening party, we listened through the album. The album played a couple times, and there was some pole dancers and a drag performance, and then I sang a piece that I prepared for it. It was really fun. But the drum brew is great, and so one night I sat down with it, and I just made a beat on it, and then I was messing with the beat and recording it into Ableton, And it just so happened that I made like the perfect amount of time when I recorded it, and the ebbs and flows, like I messed with the swing and the like randomization, and I just kind of like did that while the beat that I made was playing, and then it recorded a perfect length, and then I wrote the vocals over just the beat, and then later added like synth stuff.
Right.
But that was pretty much it, and that was really fun to write all of the vocals, all of the harmonies, the whole entire song, the structure, just to a beat.
So you made the beat at this show?
No, sorry, later.
Oh, okay.
For the new song.
Gotcha.
After I did the show, after I did Pisces, I think it was a couple days after that, I got inspired by playing it live and like mixing the beat live, adding swing and all that stuff. And so then later I came back and did that
I gotcha.
For the song that's coming out on the 19th. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So what's the usual like starting point for your songs? Because there's so much going on that, you know, for me, usually I'm starting with just a guitar and vocals. But back in the day when I did more electronic stuff that I was producing, it would be usually a drum beat that would start it off. So in general, how do you like to start off your songs?
It depends, really. Sometimes I'll have an idea just like in the shower. Sometimes I'll go in and like start producing first. It honestly just like depends on where the inspiration comes from. Sometimes I'll sit down and like write a whole song on the piano and voice, like chords and everything. But a lot of the times it's a mixture of like production and writing, like back and forth.
Okay.
The production kind of informs where I'm going to go next with the song. So I might have an idea, say I like a vocal melody and lyric idea, and then I'll kind of produce something under that and then record that, and maybe the vocals will take me somewhere else, and then I'll produce with that, or like keep producing something and then write something else on top of it. Or if I have a melody, I can go to the piano and I'll like figure out the progression there and then take it to the... It really just depends.
Yeah. That's kind of cool though. That's cool to switch it up so much.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory where you're like, oh, this is my favorite way that it's kind of started up until the point that you recorded it?
Honestly, this new song was like one of my favorite ways that I've done it, because I've always started with like chords, like a chord progression and a melody idea. But I didn't do that this time.
Yeah.
It was like really fun to write a whole song and also do all of the harmonies, everything melodically with just a beat. That was really fun. That was really, really fun.
That's cool. How do you think in the future you see yourself changing up or evolving your sound? Because, you know, we're always constantly looking for new ways to switch things up, and you can take things from before and you could always do it the same way. But I feel like some of the best moments in your own musical career, at least just artistically, come from you trying something new. So is there anything you would like to switch up in the future, or like things you've learned in the past that you're like, okay, that worked, but I want to try it this way?
100%. Collaboration. Because I've been doing things on my own for so long, and then working with my friend Ian, we just recently started working on stuff together. She's the one that helped me with the Illy song that's coming out, and we've been getting together a lot recently and like just writing a bunch of new music together, and it's so much better. Collaboration is so fun. It's been really, really nice. I like being able to even just start something on my own and like get it to a place where what usually happens is I'll get it to a place where I'm like, I really don't see how I can take this anywhere else, but it like doesn't feel finished to me. And then having someone else to bounce ideas off of, and yeah, just more collaboration really is the
Totally.
key. And yeah, I don't know, maybe in the future I'll be able to like have a band, but you know, at the moment right now, just this being solo is the way that it's worked for me in terms of like performing live.
Yeah, I mean, your live setup is crazy. That's why I was so stoked at that Star Bar performance to see you have like 12 things on
Yeah.
stage and you're just like going back and forth between all of them. How did you land at that way of performing? Was it always that way?
No, definitely not. I started with just a keyboard, just me playing keys and singing. Like,
Classic, yeah.
yeah, a classic thing. And then I saw, you know, when I was in college, a very long time ago, I don't know if you remember this, but Kimbra played at the Spotify House at South by Southwest.
I remember Kimbra. Was she featured on the Gautier song?
Yes, I think this was like right before the Gautier song.
Oh, wow.
So she, or maybe it was right around the same time, because she came out with that song "Settle Down." That was like her big song that came out. And it's a lot of like vocal stuff, vocal layered stuff. And she played at the Spotify House in South by Southwest, probably in like 2011 or 12. And that's when I first started producing music in college. And I saw her play that, and then also Imogen Heap was like doing similar things around the same time.
Yeah.
And I was really inspired by that, and I knew that that's something that I really wanted to do. So after just playing the keyboard, I then introduced a Roland, what was it, the 330 or something, the red loop pedal, like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I forget what the name.
I don't know what
is.
it's called, but yeah, I know what you mean.
And I started doing that in my sets. So I would like stick it on the side of my keyboard and like loop vocals and play keys, and then adding more stuff into my live set while also adding stuff into my music. It's been a long time. I've a long process, but I honestly, like, at the set that I'm at now, I feel really comfortable with it. So now it's time for me to like figure out something more. I want to do more. I don't want to stay like stagnant where I'm at. I think the next move for me is like actual set design for my stage.
Yeah.
So I have this idea that like really doesn't have anything to do with my music, but I love miniature things like so much.
Yeah.
And I'm also like a big action movie person.
Okay.
I love action movies. Horror movies are my favorite.
Cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that have seen my music videos can probably tell that I love horror.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, hands down. But I also do love silly action movies. Not to offend anybody, but you know, it's like
they
fun.
are silly.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like Godzilla's a great one. I love.
My friend told me I need to watch Godzilla -1.
Yes, it's so good. It actually is really, really good.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard it was like surprisingly really good.
It's really, really well done. I really liked it. But I kind of want to do something like that. Like, was it Barbarella kind of situation where like my stands and stuff are like miniature buildings.
Oh.
And like when I'm moving around.
Yeah.
There could be like lights and stuff. Like if I step over to one side, like it looks like the building like blew up or something. Like
Whoa.
lights kind of, you know, blowing up.
Yeah.
Some kind of juxtaposition where like that has nothing to do with my music really, but I is part of my personality. And it's fun. So adding new things, introducing new things into my set while also growing as an artist and as a producer and a songwriter. I like never want to stop challenging myself, and I never want to stop learning, and I hope that I never do, honestly.
Yeah.
So I do really appreciate artists that like come out with albums that are different like every time.
Absolutely.
even if I don't like all of their records, like
I'd rather you
Tori
swing
Moi-
and miss.
Yes, Tori Moi is a great example.
Totally.
Like, he has done so much over the past couple, like, I guess decade and a half.
Yeah, probably.
And a lot of his albums are very different from each other, and I don't necessarily personally like all of them. But I love that he does that. I think it's so interesting and so brave. I mean, so many of the greats did that. Like, really, David Bowie, Prince, like so many artists that are like really respected in the music world, and by even non-musicians, people love their music. They like were always challenging themselves and like collaborating all the time. So
Yeah,
I think it's really important.
I agree.
To do that.
Toro is one of the best to do it in that way.
Yeah.
At least in recent memory. I just saw him like a week ago or a week and a half ago. Yeah. My girlfriend and I went and saw him with Panda Bear, which was like such a dream tour for me. Yeah. And I love Toro. This was the first time though that his new album Whole Earth was like not quite what I wanted from him, because it's almost like him doing trap, which is very interesting.
So cool though.
It's cool though. I'd rather him do that and me be like, not my favorite, because I know that he's just working on new things, and like I don't want someone to feel like they have to do the same thing for their audience, because that's boring, and like it is kind of disrespectful to the audience to like give them an inauthentic version of how you are right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like the importance of growing as a person should also directly affect what you're doing in your music, you know.
Totally.
To be authentically you. And then some artists do have a sound, like, and they stick with that sound, and honestly, props to them too. I mean, I feel like music is for everybody, and one of my pet peeves is when people judge other people for the music they like. I think that is so wrong. Because why? What's the point?
Yeah.
Like, why do that? Everybody has a right to their own artistic expression, whether it's making music or listening to it. And you know what? Let people listen to what they want to listen to in peace. Let people make what they want to make in peace. Like, let them explore and be doing that. I don't know. Anyways, I can talk about that forever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine as well. You know what? Another pet peeve of mine is, and it's mainly older people that will say this, although I know younger people that might as well, is when they talk about music now and they're like, man, they just didn't make it. Like, they don't make stuff like they did in the 80s. I'm like, you have no idea. Yeah. Like, you're just lazy and you don't want to take the time to find out what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't slander a whole generation of music or artists because you're too lazy to do the work and figure out what you want to listen to. Yeah. What you hear is like what's on the radio, and maybe that's not what you're into, but like people think like, oh, rock and roll's dead. I'm like, rock and roll, there's so many people making amazing rock and roll right now.
Yeah.
And maybe they're saying that as like a mindset or whatever. And that's a different thing, I guess. But I just think it's interesting when people want to discredit the work of music and artists right now, because it's easier for them to just believe that they lived in the best time of music.
It's also, the music industry has changed so much. So the people that are able to have music that is accessible are people that are funded, that have money.
Right.
There's plenty of artists out there, and you're right, like you kind of have to like dig a little bit, but that's also really fun, and it's a little bit different than like digging for records right now, which you can still do too, but
to have a physical record, you have to have a lot of money to back that up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a different vibe.
Yeah, and that's okay.
It's a different thing right now, but yeah, it's true. It's there's so much out there. There's so much. you could listen to a new artist every hour for the rest of your life and still not cover all the music that is coming out or has come out in the last like 10 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then if you like one thing, you're going to want to listen to it a lot. That's all the time you could be spending
Yeah.
listening to new people. But
Yeah.
I do think it's healthy to try new artists, listen to new things that might challenge you, especially if it's not quite what you would listen to a lot.
Yeah.
Like I used to think I didn't really like country, and it's not my go-to sound, but my buddy ended up getting me into like Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and some of these old sounds, and like that kind of ended up influencing my music nowadays, even though it's not really what I choose to listen to all the time. But something about the songwriting aspect of those artists really ended up kind of influencing the way I write now. And there could be country artists who listen to something like Björk who can get a lot of just interesting inspiration from her sound, just all the sounds she gets, all the rhythms she gets. So it's really a beautiful thing that you can, music is music, and these genres are only so they're only so solid. It gets very fluid after a while.
It's so, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this before. I can't remember who said this, but music is a universal language. We can all understand it. We can all feel it, in our bones. And even if we listen to music in other languages, maybe we don't understand exactly what the words are being said, but we can feel what the songs mean, And that's what's so beautiful about music. It brings us all together. So that's why it's like, why judge people for what they listen to? I don't
Totally.
get it.
No, it's crazy. You also, so you just mentioned you love horror movies, you love silly action movies, but you're also an actor as well.
Yes. Well, I try. Yes, I do. It's a new thing.
Okay.
My music video for Grease that came out, the one with the kind of horror theme.
Yeah.
My really good friend who also like directed and did director of photography as well on the video, was working on a movie, and had showed the writer and director of the movie the video, because he was like, here's a music video I did. And the Aaron is the guy's name, the director of the movie, reached out to me and offered me a part in the movie from the music video, and I was like,
Sweet.
I've never done this, but that sounds really fun. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I'm so down. And I did it, and it was super fun. And then from that experience, I met a lot of people, and then I was able to like audition and be in a couple other short films.
Cool.
And I just was in another short film that I'm also scoring. And so that actually scoring film and like short films and movies and has been a huge fucking big dream of mine, like really, really, really big dream of mine. And I'm like kind of doing it now. Well, in the beginning stages of it. So, I have a friend who had booked me, like, I think it was like literally like 10 years ago, in Austin, Texas for this, they have the like bat caves there.
Yes.
So there's like a fundraiser that they do to like keep these bats healthy and all the stuff, animal stuff.
Yeah.
And so we had worked together on that. Like he had booked me for that like 10 years ago, and recently we started. We got back in touch and have been working on some more like scoring stuff, which is big dream of mine, huge dream of mine. So the fact that I'm like acting in some of these short films that I've been in recently, and then I'm also going to be scoring them, is like such a big dream come true for me. And they're all like great, they're all with people that I've worked with before, even if I haven't. Like they're such wonderful people. It's been super fun to do that. But yeah, acting kind of, yes.
Yeah, you're in it. You're in it.
Yeah,
and that's cool. You get to score these films as well. It's like
it's
you've been dropped
huge.
into this so quickly.
yeah, seriously, such a huge like life bonus for me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Do you have any inspirations when it comes to film scores, certain movies you think just nail it, certain composers who you think are
Yes.
fantastic?
100%. I mean, one of my favorites is the score for Mandy.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you have to watch it.
Is that Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
Okay.
God, he's so good in that.
Icon. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been doing it so long.
That movie really like changed my opinion about him.
Oh, you didn't have a great opinion about him before?
No, it wasn't that. I just didn't really take him seriously. Like all of his
Yeah.
movies are so silly, but then he really blew me away in that movie. And then I don't know if you've seen Dream Scenario, but
I
that
have,
was
yeah.
great. He was so good in that.
Mhm.
And then it makes me want to watch some of the like more serious movies that he's been in.
Have you seen Adaptation?
That's one. It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet.
I'm not kidding. You have to watch
Yeah,
that.
I need to watch
That
it.
will blow your mind in terms of, I mean, a lot of reasons, but his acting in that. I was talking with Aaron Rizzo, who was on this pod not long ago, and he had the DVD of it in his room. I was like, whoa, dude, that's sick. He's like, yeah, that might be one of the best movies of all time, which I agree. And he should have definitely gotten an Oscar for it because he plays, I know it's something kind of cliche about this. I always roll my eyes when I hear this, but he plays like himself and his brother.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
how they'll
that's
do
right.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was incredible. And have you seen Being John Malkovich?
Of course, yeah.
So same director, or I'm
Okay.
sorry, same writer.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman. And so if you like Being John Malkovich, it is
Yes.
the same kind of like
I don't know why I've never seen it. Like it's always been on my list, and I'm just like haven't
Yeah.
found the time.
I feel like it doesn't get as much shine compared to Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard about it until like a year or two ago.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and-
I remember the hype about it when it was like coming out when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to watch it. Maybe it's time.
Highly recommend it, especially if you're getting into Nicolas Cage. But
Yeah.
back to the scoring.
Yes.
So
Oh,
Mandy.
yes. Mandy was it? I want to say Chris Christopherson, but that is not who did it. It's another person who
Okay.
has like a double name.
Yeah.
Situation.
right.
Steve Stevenson or something,
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I'm drawing a huge blank right now in terms of names.
That's okay. If any movies come to mind, that's always nice too. I always think about
Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood is a favorite
Yeah.
from Radiohead.
Yes. I will say that one that I did not actually enjoy was the new Suspiria.
Yeah. Tom York doing the score.
I loved every part where he wasn't singing. I feel like his vocals kind of took me out of the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Which-
that makes sense. Such an iconic voice. It's hard to separate.
It's really hard to separate. But I love that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you go, girl.
Yeah.
You go, girl. Do it.
I'm
but
such
it just, for me, it didn't work. But like that was also iconic. I'm cool. Like I appreciate it that he did that.
I was stoked that he did that. I
Yeah.
actually didn't watch it. I watched like,
It's so good.
is it?
Yeah.
People,
It's really good.
people who were like big fans, I think they really loved the first one more.
They are completely different.
Okay.
So you have to go in not thinking about it being a remake.
Okay.
You kind of just have to think of them as separate things. For me, that's how
Mm-hmm.
it worked. But it's really great. It's really well done. There's like this one scene that was so unsettling, but like so well done. So well done.
Yeah.
So well done.
I wanted to be really into it. I watched like 10 minutes of it and it was kind of late. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching this. But I was hyped about it, obviously, because of Tom York doing the score. And then just like the idea of the movie, like the poster looked crazy.
Yeah.
I
Poster
think,
was so good.
yeah, and I think I kind of wanted it to be Black Swan.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
what
can see
I was
that.
going into it thinking of it as, and it wasn't quite that.
Very different.
yeah.
Very, very different. But I feel like it does hold up on its own.
Okay, maybe I'll give it another
Yeah.
shot. But
Maybe it's time for you now.
maybe it's time. Yeah, it's calling me.
Yeah.
I got one last question before we move over to the last five.
Woo.
But I just wanted to know, in my opinion, I think your music is so like boundary pushing. Like I really feel like what you're doing is really cool. You have all these crazy sounds. Like, that's just the key to my heart, is like crazy rhythms, things like that. Who do you feel like does that really well in terms of like crazy rhythms, out there sounds and soundscapes?
Well, I mean, we've already talked about her so much, but Björk.
Yeah.
Björk does so. I mean, she is such a huge inspiration for me. I grew up on really good music. Like, my parents had great taste. They said they have great taste. I'm just gonna say right now. I grew up on like Sade, Ella Fitzgerald, ABBA. God, what's his name? Burt Bacharach. Like, it's just like really great music. And when I discovered Björk for the first time, it was my older sister. She was in high school, and she had like a CD in her car. I was probably maybe 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
And so this is still in the 90s. And she was in high school. She had made a tape that had Deftones, Nirvana, Björk, like a lot of like great, and Ella Fitzgerald too. Like, she has great taste also. And I remember Ella Fitzgerald from the very beginning was like my favorite vocalist. Still is, like, just vocally such an incredible, impeccable, velvety, beautiful voice. I mean, she's just so in her own league, vocally speaking, like, just incredible. And I remember hearing Björk for the first time and immediately thinking about Ella Fitzgerald and like thinking how dynamic they both were and how important they both were for music, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Sure.
For me, because they're so different from each other, but they're both so impactful, and they're both so genuine and authentic to themselves, and in such completely different ways. Nina Simone was another one that was like that for me. Just so uniquely them. And Björk was the first time I'd heard a vocalist that was also a producer, that really did something so wild and out there for me, from, you know, having listened to, like I said, Sade and Burt Bacharach, like really great songwriters and musicians. She kind of just pushed the boundaries, like all of the first time I heard like a lot of vocal layering, really, that was like used in the music. What was it? Volcura? Was that the record?
Oh, Volcura?
Was that the
maybe?
record? With
yeah.
the vocal. It was like all vocals.
Oh, I'm not sure. I kind of have a blind spot with Björk post like 2004.
Okay.
I think. After that, I kind of don't know as much of her stuff.
Okay. Yeah. There was a record that came out later.
Yes. I can picture it. She's got like this thing on her head.
Yeah.
It's like all these little dandelion things on her head or something.
Yeah, something like that. I have to go back and figure that out. But that was the first time I'd really heard a cappella vocals used in such a dynamic way that was like electronic also. If that makes sense. So I don't know if that answered the question. I kind of went on a tangent.
No, that's okay.
But she was just huge inspiration. Still is. I love her.
Totally.
I still do a Björk accent sometimes. So when I'm like sometimes when I'm walking my dog, I'll be like, look at the trees over there.
The way she speaks is so like she's from a fairy tale.
Yeah, she is. She is kind of a fairy.
She really is like a wood nymph or something.
I know we're about to move on, but do you listen to Song Exploder, the podcast?
I've listened to one or two.
Björk does one, and
cool.
It's fantastic. Also, the Yo-Yo Ma one makes me cry every time.
Really?
It's so good.
What song did she do? Do you remember which one? Or I don't really know how Song Exploder works, the format.
Yes. Yeah, it's one song. I think it's honestly, it's been probably 8 years since I heard it.
Okay.
I can't remember which one.
One of my
Maybe
favorites
Bachelorette?
is
I don't know.
Hyper Ballad. That's a
Yes.
personal favorite of mine.
So good.
I was showing Casey, my girlfriend, that the other day. I was getting her into Bjork, and that was the first song I showed her because
It's
that was
so
the one
good.
that like hit me.
Yeah.
And she said something that was like, she nailed it. It sounds like she's really trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
And the way she sings is like she's right there with you, like
Yeah.
begging you to
Listen,
hear her.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's something so affecting about that. And then
Yeah.
coupled with all of the drums and just the crazy, strange rhythms and like instrument choices, it's just it just seems like there's no boundaries for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that feeling too. You can feel it in her music. There's like, it's just so free. Yeah, exactly. No boundaries is such a good way of putting it.
Shout out to Bjork.
Yes, we love you, Bjork.
We love you. Please come on the pod.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll fly you down.
Oh my God.
But cool. Let's move on to the last 5. We got a little magic bowl here with a little some questions, so you can just kind of pick them
That's
out
fun.
at your own leisure,
Okay.
and we'll read them out and we'll go through them.
All right.
Question number 1.
3 desert island albums. Oh, that's so hard. Okay, let me see. Right now, I'd have to say the Choke Enough album by OK Lou.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
People have been really into that.
I keep listening to that like every day, so that's one. Another one would probably be the Hurricane Bell EP by Jovial. I love that one. You should listen.
Okay.
You would love it. She's
Jovial.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send you.
Yeah, please.
It's so good. And then probably the Roses. I forget the whole name of the album, but Cleo Soul
Oh yeah, I know that name.
or Sade. Honestly,
Is Cleo Soul from here, or maybe?
no, she's UK artist.
Oh, okay. I think she played a show here within the last few months. That's why I'm thinking that.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
There's another artist named Baby Rose who's from Atlanta that I love. She's incredible.
Cool.
Check
Baby
her out, too.
Rose.
Yes.
Shout out. Come
to
on the
Baby
pod.
Rose. She has no idea who I am. she's really incredible. Oh my God. If you like Nina Simone, she's like a modern kind of
Okay.
has a modern version. Her voice is really deep and soulful and incredible.
Sweet.
Okay, next one.
Number 2.
That was not 3, but you know.
That's okay.
Okay.
Sometimes you only need 2.
Best album covers. Oh God. Well, the first one that I see in my head is the Midnight Marauders album cover.
I don't know if I know that.
Midnight Marauders by A Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, is it
It's one of my
the
favorites.
painting, the red and green
Yeah,
person?
with the yes.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
so good.
That is iconic.
Very iconic. One of the first records I ever bought when I first got my record player. So that I always think about that record. And,
Nice.
Honestly,
Yeah.
this one is
Yeah.
so good.
Animal Collective,
Yeah.
Merriweather.
Then another one would probably be Watermelon Man by Herbie Hancock.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
love that one too.
That's a great one.
That's an iconic one. Okay, those are those 3.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go in the bottom. This last one. Song you wish you wrote. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. The new FKA Twigs.
Which one?
What was the first single called?
You sexual?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You sexual.
Yeah. That song is incredible.
I wish I made that song.
The last part
It's so good.
makes me tear up every
I
time.
know, it's so good.
People
Yeah.
always tell me I take my love too far and refuse to help me.
I
I'm like,
know.
oh my God, dude.
It's so good. When I watched the video, I cried so hard.
Iconic music
It's so
video.
good.
The Drums of Death song
Drums
intro.
of Death is great.
Love it.
Oh, Aphex
The
Twin.
dancing in the office space is just
It's
unreal.
So good. Yeah. Also, I need to throw in Aphex Twin in there somewhere. I love Aphex Twin. We never talked.
For sure.
I'm listen to more women
Mm-hmm.
for sure, but there are some like iconic men electronic artists that I really really love.
Totally.
Obviously, he's one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I wrote Eusexual. It's so good.
Great song. All right. Question number 4, right?
Oh, number
It's the last 5.
Oh, yes, it's 5. Oh, my God. Okay.
It's okay. We don't have to do it like super fast.
Yes.
I used to call it the fast 5.
The fast 5.
But that
okay.
freaked people out. So now it's just the last 5. We can take our time.
Okay, musical hot take. I kind of said it. Well, actually, I'll say something that I didn't say earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think the computer is the most underrated instrument.
Facts. Absolutely. Question number 5. Last one.
Okay, last one. Unexpected musical influence. Unexpected musical influence.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who would people be surprised to know that you really listen to?
I don't know. I like so many artists. I feel like it's not surprising to me, so I don't know how to answer that.
Right. To be fair, when you said Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald, those were not 2 that I thought of.
Really?
But it makes sense because, I
Okay.
mean, you also said you went to school for opera.
Yes.
So you're clearly very vocal minded.
Yeah.
But when I listen to your songs, I am so like entranced by the production. So like the Björks, the Aphex Twins, those make more sense to me
yeah.
personally.
That's interesting because that was later in life.
Yeah, that is interesting.
A lot of my first influences were a lot of like jazz musicians because my family on my mom's side are all jazz musicians. And I studied jazz for a little bit when I was in high school, around high school age, like early high school. I was in a jazz band and I like studied jazz pretty intensely for a little bit. So I can like sing. I have a lot of jazz standards in my repertoire. And I performed jazz for a while. So there's like certain things that I do with my voice vocally that are influenced heavily with jazz, but also obviously pop music too. Yacht rock is like I love yacht rock.
Hell yeah.
I could listen to yacht rock all day. There are
Sick.
some yacht rock songs though that I can't stand.
Okay.
Some I have to pass. But like Christopher Cross, Hall & Oates, like
Okay.
Seals and Croft.
Yeah.
Like,
Seals and Crofts.
Player.
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah, you're
there's
hitting
so
the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, the icon though, Steely Dan? Are they on there?
I fucking love Steely Dan.
Okay, sick.
They're
They're kind of controversial. People love them or hate them.
I know. I don't get it. Like, how do you not like Steely Dan? It's so groovy. But also, too, I get it because, like, I don't like certain things either. I don't like to listen to certain things, but obviously I respect people.
Right.
I'm like, this joy should be in your life.
I know it's more just sad.
Yeah, I'm like, experience the Steely Dan joy. God, I love Steely Dan. I love him.
Yeah, they're incredible.
They're great. But yeah, unexpected. I guess lots of jazz. I listened to
Yacht
a
rock
lot
kind of
of
threw
jazz.
me
Yacht rock.
for a loop there.
I'm
That's
such a yacht rock
I
fan.
love that. Cool. So jazz and yacht rock to end it.
Yeah.
Sudie, thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you so
yeah, it
much
was a
for
blast.
having me.
Of
This
course,
has been really
everybody
fun.
needs to check out the new song
Yes.
ILY Illy coming
Yes.
out March 19th.
Yes.
Yeah, check it out. Check out the album Doldrums End.
Yes.
Fantastic. And yeah,
I need that.
do you have any Atlanta shows coming up?
I do. So on March 23rd, I'm actually playing at Argosy in
Cool.
the Brig, which is cool. I've never played there before. But some friends from France are actually coming over and hopping on. Kahi's also playing.
Oh, sick. Shout out Kahi.
Yeah, and it'll be really fun. They're actually all going on tour.
They're going to South by Southwest, right?
Yeah, I can't do South by Southwest.
No.
I would like it ever again.
Oh, you've done it before.
I've done it a few times before, and it is just such a fucking shit show.
That's what I've heard.
and like now, I heard this year they have like the CIA coming there
What?
to like try to recruit people.
Oh my God. Well, they did
is-
a similar thing in Athfest like 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year, where they had the Army sponsor it. And they were like recruiting people. And we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
this is
it's so
so
dumb.
not the place.
Not the vibe.
Not the vibe at
Like,
all.
read the room. Come on.
They had like a station for people to walk up and like do what is it? Fucking, you can tell I don't go to the gym. Like the cleans where they have the I sound like such a moron right now, but you know, the bar with
Like
the weights on the side.
deadlifting?
Yes, deadlift. Thank you. And people would just like do deadlifts, and you know, the army guys would be like, "Nice, like you're pretty good at that. You should join the military." You're like, this is so fucking weird.
That's so weird. Yeah, it's too much. I'll play South by Southwest again when they pay me enough money and that I have like some people to help me like with equipment.
Totally.
But
Get it together, South by.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
So March 19th, right, is the song.
Yes.
And then the show was
March 23rd.
March 23rd.
Yes.
Cool. Hell yeah. Well, everybody come out, come show some love.
Yay.
Sudie, thank you for coming on the pod.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
On that note, with Parker Whirling.